Okay, good stuff. Now, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. What I've been wanting to do is really get people to asking questions. Now, obviously, you guys are in the room, and today we're in the room, so I thought I would do this literally from the live trading room because we've got an afternoon session. Markets are fairly quiet, so we've asked the guys at Trader Support Club, so you guys in the room included. I posted this up on Facebook, which was basically a scenario where anyone could ask any question they want that was trading related, and the one that got the most likes is the one that I would cover. Now, as you can see here, I've pulled up the post, and you can see it here. We've got Lewis's question, which is what has been the hardest thing you've had to overcome in your trading journey. Narain's very interesting question. Things that feed your soul. To me, one of them is trading. From the angle of spirituality, do you get anything from trading? That's a really interesting question. And Martin, if you could choose one thing that made the biggest difference to your trading, what would that be? So for me, these two, I'm going to answer these really as one. So I'm going to answer Martin's and then Lewis's, and then I'm going to touch on Narain's. Now, I will get back to the rest of you that have put an answer in there, but I'm going to focus on those, touch on Narain's, because they all got 4 likes. So I suppose in answer to the question, what's the hardest thing that I've had to overcome? And I think that in itself is a hard question. And the reason it's a hard question is there's very rarely one thing that I could put it down to. How many of you that are here this afternoon in the room have already realized that there's lots of little things you have to overcome as you're going through the journey? So at 1 minute it might be fear of placing a trade, or it might be you've had a little bit of a losing run, or it might be that you're winning and you get a little bit anxious. I've had that before, where you've had 8 or 9 winning trades on the trot, and that can create create a management of greed. So from a technical learning point, there isn't really one thing. So I thought about this a lot. What's the biggest difference to my trading? What's the hardest thing I've had to get over? I think the two are quite interlinked, and I think really, and I'm copping out a little bit here, it's more than just the one thing. I think it was discipline. I think that was a big one. Discipline. But really what's really interesting with the whole discipline scenario is that the discipline was underpinned by a belief. So when I started out trading, I wasn't very disciplined. Has anyone else experienced that, guys that are in the room? So when you started out, you were a bit reckless, you weren't sure what to do. So my thing was discipline. And as I started trading for longer and longer, one of the things that happened was the discipline then would be good for a period of time, and then I'd lose it. So I'd start very rule-based at the start of the month, and I'd be like, right, I'm going to be focused, follow my strategy, nothing else. A couple of winners, and I'd get lax. So I'd have 2 or 3 winners on the trot, so I could say, yeah, that's all going well. And then almost without realizing, I would start doing things wrong. So there'd be trades that I would get wrong. And I'd be, breaking rules, risking too much, so risking 3% instead of 1%, and just doing things where I break my rules. So I think overall, one of the hardest thing for me to get over is discipline. But what's the one thing that's made the biggest difference? Well, actually, it's linked. Now, I asked this question in the room last week, and I think it's a really important question to ask. For me, the moment I decided that I was a trader, regardless of the result that I was getting at the time, and the question I asked in the room previously was, how many of you see trading as something that you do? So how many of you see trading as something you do? Or how many of you, being a trader, is somebody that you are? So it's about identity for me, identity and belief. So for me, it was, where is my identity? So I used to see trading as something I did, and I put very strict conditions on it. I will see myself as a trader when I am making £5,000 a month and I have an account size of this. And I remember my coach and my trainer at the time, he said, but have you placed at least 5 trades systematically following a system? Have you developed that system and tested that system? And I said, yes. And he said, therefore, you are a trader. And for me, I saw it as that moment where I was like, okay, now I'm not talking about going and standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am a trader, but having that belief that you are a trader because you have placed trades, not just randomly going on and gone buy, sell, anybody can do that, but you've followed a strategy, you've learnt tools and techniques, and you're doing something systematically. To me, you are a trader. Does that make sense to everyone? So for me, when I started having the identity of a trader, don't get me wrong. As soon as I said, I didn't say to myself, well, now I'm a trader, and suddenly my results got better. That's not what I mean. But what I started to do is I started to ask myself, what are the traits? So you can see me looking up this because I'm writing this all on the screen. So what are the traits of a trader? So I might be trading and I am a trader, but is my trading where I want it to be? And the answer is no. I wanted my trading to get a lot better. So I was like, right, what are the traits of a trader? So I literally listed them all down, wrote them all down, and then it was, okay, can I see all of those traits in me? Can I see them either yes or no, or to some extent, i.e. that particular trait, yes. If one of the traits was being disciplined and focused, I do it sometimes, but not necessarily enough. So what I was able to do is I was able to go through the entire list, and I could see that I actually had, to some degree, some more, some less, all of the traits of a trader. So not only did I call myself a trader, identify myself as a trader, I could see all of the traits. Does that make sense to everyone? I didn't just stand in the mirror and go, I'm a trader, I'm a trader, I'm a trader. I actually physically went through the process and I associated those traits. So what that enabled me to do was start behaving almost without realizing more like the trader that I wanted to be. So rather than it be the trader I want to be, or being a trader is here and I'm over here, I saw myself here. So rather than it being external, something that I wanted that I didn't have, it was internal. I have it all. I just need to grow and develop each area. So for me, it might sound quite a little bit woolly. It's not specific technical things like using a particular moving average or using support and resistance in line with this. Those things all happened as a result of me changing my identity. So I think the hardest thing for me to overcome was discipline, but the biggest thing, the one thing that made the biggest difference, to answer Martin and answer Lewis's question together, was changing my identity. I didn't wait to become a successful trader. I said, to say I'm a trader, I'm already a trader, and then said, how can I become more successful? Another thing that helped with slumps. So what I found myself doing is, if I wasn't trading, I'd want to be trading. And if it was Christmas, then I would still keep an eye on the markets. I would still watch the markets. I might not trade every day. And that, I think, was partly because I saw myself as a trader. So there wasn't a need to really kick start. And it's interesting that that question's been asked in January, when a lot of people are sort of trying to get over a slump at Christmas, trying to get over X, Y, and Z. Now that can be for various different reasons, but for me, I don't see there being a slump because I don't see January, February, November, December. I don't see them any different, because as a trader, there are opportunities to make money. Does that make sense, guys who are listening in the room today? Does that make sense? So when you see yourself as that thing, you're not trying to have to motivate yourself to get there. So that was a real subtle one for me. One of the big things from a spiritual point of view, so maybe answering Lorraine's question in a little bit more, being a bit more specific towards Lorraine's question, it does link with those two. So as I've said, it was discipline was the hard thing. The one thing to get over was my identity, seeing myself as a trader, and then bringing everything I do into balance. I'd say the one thing trading has taught me, especially before trading, at times even now, I'm not the most balanced individual. I can be quite extreme when I'm wanting to do something. I can be a little bit all or nothing. I like variety, and actually trading is potentially quite a boring pursuit if you're doing it efficiently and effectively, and once you've been through and placed enough trades and got to the point where you're effective at it, essentially it can be a little bit boring. So for me, I've used trading in a way as actually almost being a way of bringing me back into balance, because it forces me to be very focused. I have to be relaxed to trade very well. So for me, I actually see trading almost as a way of calming me down with all the other things that I've got going on, with speaking, with training, with family, with the usual day-to-day things that we've been discussing this afternoon. For me, trading actually helps calm me down. Cool. Well, guys in the room, and The rest of you that are listening to this, hope you found it useful. I'll catch up with you again soon.